everyone, welcome back to the Lord of the Rings Online. This is Gnarlo here. Say hello to everyone, Gnarlo. Good boy. When last we left off, we were here at the stables of Elrond in far, far west Rivendell. Almost as far west as you can go. You can go a little bit further on the road over there, but we are right over here. And we had just picked up the book 4.4.Foreword, The Troubles of Rivendell. Aragorn had asked us if we would go and talk to Elrond on a matter of great importance. So that is what we were going to do. Let's go ahead and get up our Summer Days pony. Oh, and by the way, Turbine, you need to take the Summer Festival splash page down. It's been over a week now, and that is still popping up on a annoyingly regular basis. Okay, so we just head on out of the stables, slightly to the southeast, cross the bridge here over the river. We're going to go through the Rivendell marketplace. Here we go again with the... Alright, here we go again with the frame rate jerking. So let me check and see. There we go. Don't know what's going on. I got to dig into my computer here and see what the heck is causing all these problems. Alright. Once you cross the bridge, go to the northeast. You're going to hit the main path through Rivendell and just follow it on down past the Spire of Meeting here. If you've never been to Rivendell before, the mailbox is just off to... we just passed it right there. It hadn't loaded in yet. There's the main mailbox in the out in the lands, and the milestone is right there. This is the bridge of Rivendell. It crosses on and goes up to the road that climbs back into the mountains and goes up through the high moors. So we want to take it northwardly and then bear to the east once again. Cross the bridge, and we're heading for the last homely house here. Once we get inside the last homely house, Elrond is going to be up on the upper floor of it in his study, which I have been spending a lot of time of lately working on my scholar. He's finally gotten to the point where he has to use a superior study now, and this is one of the, at the time, the only one you could come to. And you also have to do the quest here in order to get the permission to use the study. So we're going to go on into the homely house, which once it gets loaded in, we will head on up and see if we can't find Elrond. So you're going to come upstairs to this floor and then continue on and up one more time. Yes, it's yet another very, very elfy place here. There you go. This is Elrond's study, which pretty much the whole place functions as a superior study. Elrond is right over the edge here. I'll actually take the ramp that goes down, although half the time I just leap over the edge right there. It's not going to hurt you. And here's the man with the plan himself, Mr. Elrond. Doesn't he look regal? Alright, let's go ahead and talk to him.
Will you lend me your aid once more?
The path you took to my doorstep has been perilous, Gnarlo, and its dangers are all too common in these dark days. If you will consent to lend us your aid, it will not be the least of your challenges.
Hope is not in vain.
Alright, Chapter 1. Where is the horse and rider? Is that correct? I believe that's probably it. Welcome to Imladris, Gnarlo. It is good that you have come. Rest well, but not too deeply or too long. We have need of adventuring folk, for there is evil beyond the veil. Not more than 2 months ago, a hobbit by the name of Frodo-Baggins and his companions were pursued to the ford of Bruinen by servants of the enemy. Not more than 2 months ago. You see how quickly time goes in this? How time changes? You know, over in the Shire, it's only like the next day or the same week that Frodo just left the Shire, and here it is. It's already been 2 months since the showdown in the ford of Bruinen. I speak of the Nine, the Nazgul, foul creatures, fell creatures in the service of Sauron, and though the Bruinen fell upon them at my command, we have found the steeds of only 8. One of the riders is unaccounted for. My son set forth with scouts bound to them by friendship to seek this missing rider. I ask that you speak with Elladan at their camp of Thorinhad, among the Bruinen gorges, and lend your aid to the search. We must learn where this Nazgul has gone, and most importantly, his designs. So we've been tasked to go talk to Elladan. Yep, where is the horse and the rider? Which is rather ironic. We're talking about a Nazgul here, where that was actually a line taken from the poem or the song that Theoden quotes whenever he is in Rohan. I know in the movie Theoden quotes it while Grima is helping him put on his armor, getting ready to march forth to war. I'm not sure in the book exactly where it is from, but that is a line of one of the songs in the book. Where is the horse and rider? Okay, so we are going to travel back downstairs. I'm probably going to stop off at the healer right over here. Check to see. No, I don't think I have anything I need to sell. Anyway, we've got a couple of people right over here. There's a healer, consumable trader, and off to the left there's an escrow banker and a regular banker. And right there is the elf, one of the elf faction barters. So you have just about everything you need right here. And of course the elf house is going to be designed villa style so that all the courtyard here is open to the sky. Of course I've never seen it raining in here though. But I gotta think, I can't remember ever actually seeing it rain in Rivendell either. Which makes me wonder why all these trees and everything is so lush. That ring must have some incredible powers. Okay, so at this point, we are headed back to Thorinhad. Let's pull up the map of the Imladris Valley here. See, we're right here. We could ride it on up and up into the hills and into Trollshaws again, because where we are headed is right up here. So we'd have to come back up the Trollshaws, cross the high moors again, down to the Fort of Brennan, on the Brennan Gorges, and on up. But I think, what is that, Thorinhad, I think the stable master over there should have a horse trip. One of his routes should lead back to Thorinhad, so we'll run over and check, and we will rejoin you once we've hooked up with the stable master. Okay, coming back into the stables here, let us check with Ladrakan and see what he has.
Megovanen.
We are looking for the Trollshaws. Thorinhad. Oh, God. We didn't stop and go up there and get the stable master, did we? No, we sure didn't. Alright, so that's an issue. It looks like it's going to be a ride for us. So I guess I will start heading out that way, and unless I have something untoward happen to me, we will join back up to you whenever we get to Thorinhad. I'm not going to take you along for the journey. Y'all know the path that we took to get here. We're just going to take the path back, and hopefully, with a little luck and dodging, it should be as uneventful as it was to get here. So, hopefully, we will see you back on the Great East Road, where the path turns to the north, and we will go up to the camp of Elrond's sons. Alrighty, folks, I'm having to refilm this little part here, because I had the recording set wrong. I was coming up this way, had decided to head on up the path, but instead of that, I was coming by and I noticed on my mini-map there was a little ring sitting there at the guest rooms. So going inside to see what was up, I thought whenever we last talked to Aragorn that he still had a ring over his head. And sure enough, for it to be nighttime outside, there's still a buttload of light coming through these windows. Y'all really might want to take a look at that. I came in here. Aragorn actually had a ring over his head.
Greetings.
So we clicked on that, and up came a momentous decision, which we shall pull up. The quest history. He told us, I have borne this broken blade for many long years, Gnarlo, always unused, for these are the shards of Narsil. Yes, Narsil, the sword wielded by Elendil of Westerness in battle before the Black Gate of Mordor, the sword that broke beneath him in battle with Sauron upon the slopes of Orodruin. Though Gil-galad had fallen and Elendil was slain, two still stood against the might of Sauron in the shadow of that fell tower. Isildur, the son of the king, and Elrond Half-Elven, herald of Gil-galad. With a final effort, Isildur picked up the hilt shard of Narsil and cut the one ring from his finger, and the power of the Dark Lord was broken. The light of Narsil was extinguished, but its shards came again to the north, though Isildur himself never returned from the Gladden fields. The shards have been passed from father to son in his line for years beyond count, but the sword has never been remade. The old victories did not last, Gnarlo, and the shadow has returned. We have need of Narsil's light once more. The blade must be reforged. Speak with Himodir at the forges here in Rivendell, in the northwest corner of the Vale, and tell him of my decision. I would have him know that Narsil is to be remade. So Aragorn has decided that it is time to remake the blade that was broken. This is going to be a blue quest, a momentous decision. And I was looking and I saw that we're level 34 down here, so this should actually ding us up to level 35. So why don't we go ahead and go take care of that. The forges aren't too far away. And that should also help make this book 4 chapter 1, the orange level quest, increase it up to a yellow level quest. Alright. So the forges are back this way. We're going to go back through the stables once more and then head on up northerly to the stables. As you see, a large change between the book and the movie. In the movie, of course, the shards of Narsil are held almost in a monument over in Elrond's house, in the last homely house. Got the statue that's kneeling or sitting there with the shards laid across the statue's lap. In the books, the sword shards have actually been handed on from generation to generation, father to son, amongst all the direct line of Isildur, all the way down to Aragorn. In fact, they actually carried the shards with them. There's a scene in the book where the hobbits first meet Aragorn in the Prancing Pony. I'll head on up this way, and there should be a gate, yes. Meet Aragorn in the Prancing Pony, and Sam isn't sure whether or not they should trust him. Whether he might be, as Sam put it, a play-acting spy. And Aragorn tells Sam, if I wanted the ring, I could take it now, and pulls his sword out, and they all see that it's broken about a foot above the hilt. And that is that he actually carries the blade that is broken around with him. Alright, so here are the forges and the general craft area entirely of Rivendell. So we are looking for Himodir. Let's see if we can find him. He is standing right in the center there. Let's go forth, tell him that the blade that was broken is to be remade once more.
Hail, friend, and well met.
Narsil is to be reforged. My heart would be filled at joy at this news, friend, for Aragorn and for all of Middle-earth, if it were possible. The shards were kept a while in Imladris for safekeeping, and I often gazed upon them. It is with sadness that I must tell you that reforging the sword may not be possible. Its history is known to me, long and storied as it is, but I would tell you only the portion that causes me to grieve. Of old, elves of the house of Feanor crafted numerous wonders, items of great power and beauty. Among these were the Silithare, adamants possessed of the light of the stars. The dwarf smith Telkar used one of these stones in the creation of Narsil, and the Silithar it was that caused the blade to glow with silver light when wielded in battle. All the Silithare was lost during the long centuries since the forging of Narsil. Without such a stone to use in the reforging, the sword will never achieve the greatness it once had. I am sorry. Bring this news to Aragorn with my sorrow. So we need to go back and talk to Aragorn once more. over at the guest house. Now, what Helmodir there just said may seem to have contradicted what I said, but you have to remember when Aragorn's father was killed, when Arathorn was killed, Aragorn was still a very small child. He was little more than an infant or a toddler. And his mother brought him here to live in Rivendell and to be raised amongst the elves and everything. So the sword was actually here, was brought with him here to Rivendell and kept basically in safekeeping for him. But it was handed back over to him whenever he achieved manhood as a station of his house, along with the ring Barahir. And I'm wanting to say there was maybe one more heirloom. I know those were two of the heirlooms of the house. The shards of Narsil and the ring of Barahir. But I can't remember if there was a third heirloom that signified he was the heir to the house of the Dunedain. Alright, just a very short trip here back over to the guest houses. Let him know the bad news that the Narsil had been forged with a Silithare, which sounds kind of like Silmarillion. They definitely had the same root Sil, which means star, in them, and both of them captured the light of the stars within them. Let's speak to Aragorn.
Greetings.
And as I said, this should put us over the top. You have returned from speaking with Helmodir. What did he have to say about the reforging of Narsil? I see. Helmodir is a fine smith, but he shares the dour outlook of his people. If he needs a Silithar to reforge the sword of Elendil, we will find for him a Silithar.
Greetings.
Yep. We got the white light beam as we level on up to 35. A man called Estel. When I was very young, my father Arathorn was slain by orcs, and my mother brought me to stay here at Rivendell. I was called Estel by my mother Gilliran, and by all those who dwelt in the Vale, and I rode far afield, seeking adventure with the sons of Elrond. I consider him my father as much as did Eladan and Elrohir. At the age of 20, Lord Elrond took me aside and told me my true nature and of my heritage, that I am descended in unbroken line from Elendil of old. He gave to me the ring of Barahir and the shards of Narsil, but he withheld the scepter of Enumena, saying I had yet to earn it. That was it, the scepter. He withheld too another treasure, but I will not speak of that. Soon afterward I went in search of a Silithar with which Narsil might be reforged. Yes, I knew then of the ancient Silithare and of the need for one, but I was young, and I did not pass the test that was set before me. The time had not come for Narsil's remaking. I have a message for Master Elrond. Bring it to him faithfully and return with his words, and I will better know how to proceed. Here is my message. I know now that Gwendeth sought of me in the watery darkness, and I am prepared to give it. Elendil was a wiser man than I. I await your return, Gnarlo. Okay. A man called Estel. New skirmish available. Okay. Wonder what skirmish we got at level 35. Hard to say. Without keeping a running list, who can tell? Alright, so now we're going to saddle up. It's back over to Elrond's house. And tell him what the words that Aragorn has spoke to us, and see what he has to say in return. And we have returned to the study. So let's jump down and have a word with Elrond here, shall we? Elrond. Aragorn says something.
A strange fate brings you hither.
Something oranges something. Aragorn has traveled many roads since his early failure in the tomb of his great ancestor. What would Gwendeth make of him now, I wonder? You look puzzled, young one. Do not despair. I will explain my words to you and give counsel to him who I once called Estel.
Dark days are coming.
The city of his fathers. Aragorn came to us when he was only 2 years of age, his father Arathorn having been slain by the arrows of the orcs. Gilrain feared for her child's safety and brought him to Imladris, seeking to keep the fact of his birth from the eyes of the enemy. I bade Gilrain keep his true name and lineage secret, and she called him instead Estel, or Hope. When he reached 20 years of age, I saw that he had come early to manhood, and I gave to him knowledge of his lineage and the name his father had given him, Aragorn, a strong name. Full of hope was he on that day, but he soon would be laid low with a love far above his station. For walking in the woods near sunset of the next day he encountered Arwen, my daughter, and he was stricken with love for her. I do not know why he went to Numinas, but I always believed he made the journey to prove to himself that he was worthy of loving such a maid. He went to that ancient city, long deserted, in the company of my sons, and with Calenglad, a ranger that came at times to Imladris. Calenglad did not return from Aragorn's journey to the city of his fathers, and when next I saw Aragorn, the experience had left its mark upon him. Return to Aragorn and tell him that I agree the time has come for Narsil to be reforged, and I will give it a new name, Anduril, Flame of the West. We will have need of its light before the end. Okay. So it looks like he's gotten his hopefully future father-in-law's blessing to go forth and refashion his sword. So let's go give him the good news. And we have arrived back at the guest house for hopefully the last time. If Aragorn has another message to send over to his future father-in-law, I'm going to tell him he needs to get a 6-pack of beer. The two of them need to get together and they need to work things out on their own. The city of his fathers. I am glad that Master Elrond agrees with my decision, for his counsel is near my heart. It is true that I journeyed in my youth to Numinas, the city of my fathers. Even then it had stood empty for long years, but it was once the shining jewel of my people, and I desired to see it with my own eyes. I thought, too, that if I recovered the Silithar that lay within Numinas, the only one of the stones to remain in this bend of the world, I might reforge Narsil and prove myself worthy of the fate which I had been born. Elladan and Elro here accompanied me on my journey to Evendim, and my kinsman Calenglad also. He had sworn an oath to my father and renewed it in my name before we departed. Much of the city had already been reclaimed by the waters of Lake Nunuil. Sorry, I need a little bit more coffee there. Lake Nunuil when we arrived, and I despaired of finding the Silithar within the flooded tomb where it lay. But lo, the maiden Gwendeth appeared before us, and charged me with a task to prove my worthiness of receiving the Silithar. My youthfulness betrayed me. Though I had the form of a man, I had not wisdom or experience, and Gwendeth found me wanting. The Silithar was not to be mine that day. When I stood before the flooded passages of Elendil's empty tomb on the outskirts of Numinas, I believed it right that Narsil be reforged. I could not understand why Gwendeth refused me access to the Silithar. Now, I believe I understand.
Greetings.
Calenglad remained. Long years have passed, and I have not seen Calenglad since that day. He did not return with me. He had become enamored of Gwendeth and Lake Nunuil, and chose to remain behind. I offered to free him from his oath to me, but he refused, saying, "You are my lord and have power over me, but I ask that you allow me to remain here. I will keep watch over this city and safeguard the lake until such time as you return. In this way I will uphold my oath." Calenglad has remained at Tinnindur ever since. I would rejoice to speak with him again, but preparations are underway for a journey of great danger and importance, more important even than the reforging of Narsil, and I cannot return to Numinas. But you, my friend, you can bring to Calenglad my words and tell him that we now have true need of the Silithar, where once we did not. Bring this letter to Calenglad, Gnarlo, and remember that you act in my stead. You are my agent to Tinnindir, an island on the eastern lake of Lake Nunuil in Evendim, and we speak with one voice. Always remember that respect cannot be bought, but must be earned. Do not undervalue it, and we shall yet see Anduril forged from the shards of Narsil. So we have a quest. We have a mission. We are to bring Aragorn's letter to Calenglad, far, far to the north of the Shire, on the lakes of Nunuil, in the land known as Rivendell, in the ruins of Momentous. And now that we're by ourselves, why don't we read this letter? Calenglad, it has been too many years. Young I was when last I stood with you in Men Arain, before the tomb of Elendil my forefather, and bid you farewell. Many roads have I travelled since that day, and many evils fought, but the path now beneath my feet, and the foes arrayed before me are more dangerous than ever I have faced. The time is come for strength, the light of Narsil must be rekindled. You know of what I speak, Calenglad. The Silithar must be recovered. I am ready to take up the burden that has been set before me, but Gwendeth must give me her approval, or that readiness will mean nothing. The bearer of this letter acts as my agent and speaks with my voice, verifying the authenticity of its carrier in the common way of the Dunedain. Evendim and Inuiel are in my thoughts, Calenglad. I hope that you are well. Aragorn, son of Arathorn, lord of the Dunedain. All right. So we came over here just to talk to Elrond, and it ended up we are going to be part of the reforging of Narsil. So that is where we are going to leave it right there. We will pick it up next time. I think we will probably get Book 4, Chapter 1, maybe as we go by on our way through the Trollshaws. But otherwise, we are going to head north. I think I will skip out on the epic quest here again for a short while, because we do have a pretty important mission here. It's going to be nice to see Narsil. And I'm actually surprised that this is a side quest and not one of the actual parts of the epic line here. So, cool. It's nice to know that sometimes the side quests can have epic importance for the story as well. Alright, that's where we're leaving off. Thank y'all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we will catch up with you next time. Bye-bye.